Hello folks, this is Miss Roll with your work notes video. This is our first of our work notes, just going over what work is conceptually. So our target is to describe and explain work. So first of all, what is work? We got to make sure that we define it in terms of our science world here, because it's very different from what we end up seeing in our everyday world, right? So our physics definition of work is super different from how we use that word work in everyday conversation. So this is something we're going to keep coming back to, and we'll have to keep remembering that they are different when we're talking in the science world. So work is done when a force causes an object to move in the direction of the force. So if I push a ball this way and it moves that way, then I'm doing work, right? If I push a ball this way and it moves that way, I'm not doing work, okay? Got to have the force and the movement in the same direction. So for work to be done, two things need to occur that we have to remember. First one is that a force must be applied to that object. There has to be a force happening, push or a pull, remember? And second is that the object has to move in that same direction that the force is applied, okay? Both have to be true. If one of those things is not true, it's not work, okay? Force has to be applied, object has to move in that same direction. So if there is no motion, there's no work. Doesn't matter how hard you're pushing, how much force is being applied. If it's not moving, no work is being done. All right, so here are our examples. Example number 1 is you're pushing on a wall with all your might, but the wall doesn't move. Have you done any work? So the first thing we want to do is think about what are vocabulary words here. So we have force, one of our vocabulary words. We have motion, or we could use like movement, something along those lines. There we go. And then we want same direction. So remember, our two things that have to be true is that we have to have a force being applied and something moving or motion in that same direction. So in this case, we have a force. We are applying a force. But, that's one of our vocabulary words, right? But there is no motion. There's another one of our vocabulary words, motion. Since there's no motion, we don't have to talk about a direction. So there is no work being done. All right, example number 2. If you are using force to hold a rock over your head while walking east across a field, have you done any work? So let's break it down. First of all, we're applying a force. Up, right, to keep that rock above our head. We are moving the rock to the east. Let's say it's that way, right? These are not the same direction. And if they're not the same direction, no work is being done. All right, so again, because they're not in that same direction, there is no work happening. All right, work examples 3 and 4 here. So number 3, if you are using a force to pull your suitcase across the airport, have you done any work? So we'll start off with, we're applying a force. To pull our suitcase. It's moving in the same direction as our force. So we have a force moving a suitcase in the same direction. So work is being done. All right, last one, same idea. If you do a full push-up, lifting yourself up and then back down, have you done any net work? Okay, so we're applying a force. Up and then down. We're ending in that same position, which means there's really no movement overall, right? We're not in a different place than when we started, so there is no work. Okay, we got to end in a different place than we started. So in this case, there is no net work. Right? We would have done work applying that force up and moving up, and we would have done work applying the force down and moving down, but we're talking about that whole thing. There is no work. Make sure you've got these examples written out with our vocabulary words, but that is all for this notes video. Enjoy the rest of your day.